All right, my name is Aaron Kutil. I'm here in the GRIDLIFE booth for SEMA 2019, and this is my 1992 Honda EG Civic built for GLTC, which stands for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup.
These guys at the front still single file Kutil with Aaron Lichty even more glued to the back of him this time, but that Civic just jumps off the corner really, really nicely.
Originally came with D16, and when I raced my first year, it was with SCCA for STL, and I actually qualified for the runoffs, which is like a winner-takes-all championship race. And I needed a better engine, so next to this in my garage is an Integra Type R, and I basically stole it out of my own car, put it in the EG, and I promised myself it would only be for one race. Well, 2 years later, it was still in the race car, it was still being used, beat on. It's kind of funny, stole my own engine, put it in the race car. But recently I actually had a different engine built. It's a Japanese JDM Type R, and it's actually built for STL still. I was still planning on racing this car in STL. So the class, it has a decent amount of restrictions, which is why I had to kind of go, kind of unconventional on some of the parts. I'm running turbo pistons in it right now, and I shaved the head a bunch to get me up to 11:1 compression ratio. Other than that, it's got custom webcams. They're limited to 0.425 lift, which is similar to like a stock ITR cam, but it's got a lot more duration. Once again, that was the limit for STL. And then it's basically got bolt-ons. I got a PLM Toto replica header. It's not the real thing, but it works. And then it is restricted at the moment with a 54mm flat plate restrictor, so that's sandwiched between the intake manifold and the throttle body. So at the end of the day, it makes about 195 to the wheels, which is pretty good for this class, good for the engine. And it actually puts me in a good spot for GLTC. So I basically just left it as is, ran it for the whole year like that, and it's been pretty successful in my opinion. It's obviously a little bit down on torque compared to some of the competition. I'm racing against Corvettes with V8s, K24 Miatas. I'm even racing against the V6 Odyssey, all of which have a little bit more torque than a V18, but you rev this out to 9,000 RPM, you can get there. It's revs all day, no issues, it's reliable. I really like these B-Series, the Bro proof, and the trans is also pretty great. Once I built the engine for this, I rebuilt that Type R engine, the numbers matching one, and I put it back in the Integra. So all the Integra Type R lovers, it's back in the car, it wasn't blown up, it's reliable, it runs pretty good. So everything's back the way it should be, and this engine's in this car now. It's a little bit wild right now. GLTC, it's relatively open for bodywork, so I got the wider fenders on the front, hood scoops. You're allowed side skirts, so I built these side skirts. Actually, Adam Jabay bent these up for me, so they're about 5 inches wide at the base. The really only rules-wise for the front end and the rear is aero, so you can choose to run aero or no aero in GLTC. It's about 3% per item, so right now I'm running both of them. So I got the front splitter. And the way the rules work, you have basically 3 inches from the front bumper cover for the splitter, and you can go to the center line of the axle. And for the rear wing, it's 700 square inches. So right now, that's the new generation Pci Swan-Neck Ring that I got from my buddies at Heel Toe. It's 60 inches wide, it's got 8.5 forward length. It's got tons of adjustability on it, so it's a really nice, efficient piece. So aero-wise, the balance is actually really good. But you can't rely only on aero. With these front-wheel drive Civics, this is the golden era Honda, you gotta rely on the suspension. This is one of the best handling front-wheel drive cars out there. So that's basically the most work I put into this car, is definitely the handling. The shocks are Koni 3011 double adjustables. I got them rebuilt and revalved by a local shop in Columbus, Ohio, True Choice, to the spring rate setup, which is currently kind of surprising for most people, but it's 1100 front, 700 rear. And the reason that is because I've been working with Hone Development this year, and they basically convinced me that they have a solution to improve the handling for this car. So we have a full suspension geometry kit on it. So we have extended front ball joints, we have adjustable tie rods to correct bump steer, and in the back we have a spacer on the rear trailing arm to space where the lower control arm meets. So it's about an inch length increase on both the front and the rear, and that's basically to fix all the issues that occur when you lower the car, and obviously the car is pretty damn low. I've been running it this low with this kit and it's been working really well. So it fixes all of the imperfections that happen when you lower the car, it fixes geometry, and it increases roll stiffness. So if you ever watch some of the videos, the car looks completely flat, but it works really well. It's got really nice predictable oversteer. The suspension package is probably the most work I put into it, and it's honestly, I think, almost perfect right now. The other things I have done to the suspension, we have Pci upper control arms with kingpin offset spacers. So the spacers actually increase the caster, which allows me to run less camber. Less camber is more beneficial for braking. You don't want to lock up the tires, but then you gain that camber back when you're turning because of the excess increase in caster. All the bushings have been replaced with spherical, so I got kingpin everything. Those guys make some of the best parts in the business when it comes to the sphericals. The wheel and tire package is a 15x9 Koenig decagram, and I run the 225 Hoosier R7, and that's square, that's all around. I like the square setup, allows me to rotate tires front to rear, makes it last a little bit longer. And the setup's been designed around this stagger, or lack of stagger, so it just works. And it's just a Sparco seat, Sparco wheel. Regarding my data, I run an AIM Solo 2, so that just gives me kind of lap time, telemetry, and data, so you can improve your lap times. But regarding data logging for the actual car, it's just three Longacre gauges. I got my oil temp, oil pressure, and water pressure, or water temperature. So those are my three critical sensors that I keep an eye on during the race. And those gauges are pretty nice because they have a warning light. So when you get to that zone, they start flashing, so you can kind of quickly see when something's wrong. I think I can improve this a little bit more. There's some more development work to be done to make it a little bit faster and get some wins next year.
And it's Kutil, car number 82, takes the win.